Hello everybody. Today let us have a look at active and passive voice. What is an active voice? In an active voice, the subject performs the action denoted by the verb. For example, Raghu writes a letter. Here, Raghu, the subject, is doing the writing. Second example, Shivani must have eaten 5 mangoes. Here, Shivani, the subject, is doing the eating. Parrots live in green gardens. Here, the parrots are doing the living. An active sentence generally begins with the performer of the action, that's the subject, then it is followed by the verb, and then the object or person that the action is performed on. Most of the sentences are active. What is a passive voice? The normal word order of many active sentences can be changed so that the subject is no longer active, instead being acted upon by the verb. For instance, the letter is being written by Raghu. Here, the letter has become the subject and Raghu has become the object. Note and by has been introduced before Raghu, and the verb is also changed as is being written. The mangoes must have been eaten by Shivani. Here, mangoes have become the subject and Shivani has become the object with an interaction of by before it, and the verb has become have been eaten. Not all the verbs in English take an object. Therefore, some sentences are complete without an object. For instance, Ramesh slept well. Ragul lived far away. Both these sentences do not have a direct object. These types of sentences cannot be changed into the passive voice. So, please do keep these kind of sentences in active. And so, our third sentence, parrots live in the green gardens, cannot be converted into passive form because the sentence does not have a direct object. So, please do keep these sentences in active form. When should the passive voice be used? When the subject is not known or when it is not important to know who the subject is. Somebody cooked the food. The food was cooked. Actually, it can also be converted as the food was cooked by somebody. Here, somebody is not that important, so we have converted into the food was cooked. When there is no subject given here, it is also called as impersonal passive voice. When it is obvious who the subject is, because it's the person who usually does it. The cook cooked the food. The food was cooked. It can also be converted as the food was cooked by the cook, but we are keeping it impersonal because it is very obvious that the cook always cooks the food. How to formulate the passive form? To formulate a passive sentence, the object of the verb should be placed at the beginning of the sentence. Conjugate the verb to be in the same tense as in the active sentence. Put the main verb in the past participle form. For example, this engineer designs the model. The model is designed. The interior decorator furnished my room. My room was furnished. Note 1. If the subject is to be mentioned in a passive voice, use by. For instance, the model is designed by this engineer. My room was furnished by the interior decorator. Note 2. If the active sentence begins with no one or nobody, the passive sentence will be negative. No one cleaned the room. The room was not cleaned. Note 3. If there is a preposition between the verb and the object, the preposition will remain after the verb. They listened to his own conversation, and it will be transformed as his own conversation was listened to. Now let us have a look at the passive voice of different tenses. Present simple tense, I do it, and it will be transformed into passive sentence as it is done. Past simple, I did it, it was done. Future simple, I will do it, it will be done. Present continuous tense, I am doing it, it is being done. Past continuous, I was doing it, it was being done. Future continuous, I will be doing it, it will be being done. Present perfect tense, I have done it, it has been done. Past perfect, I had done it, it had been done. Future perfect, I will have done it, it will have been done. Present perfect continuous tense, the active sentence is I have been doing it, and it cannot be converted into passive form. It is not common in English. Past perfect continuous tense, I had been doing it, and future perfect continuous tense, I will have been doing it, cannot be changed into passive form, and these sentences should be kept in active. Person in the object possession. Somebody called me can be transformed as I was called. The general manager was interviewing Anjana. Anjana was being interviewed. They have invited us. We have been invited. Look at the person in the object possessions of these three sentences, me, Anjana and us. All these sentences are transformed into passive voice with I, Anjana and we. Sometimes a sentence can have both an object and a person in the object possession. Either of them can be chosen to formulate a passive sentence. The professor gave the student a book. This can be transformed either as the student was given a book by the professor, or a book was given to the student by the professor. Both these sentences are right. The vice chairman have sent us a copy. We have been sent a copy, or a copy has been sent to us. Passive voice of other structures. Let us look at the infinitives. Do, be done. Have to in an active sentence is like I have to do it, and the passive form is it has to be done. Used to do, I used to do it, it used to be done. Be going to, I'm going to do it, it is going to be done. Modal auxiliaries like may, can, etc. can also be converted into passive voice like I can do it, it can be done. Let's also have a look of passive voice of other structures and gerund, doing, being done. Don't mind. I don't mind teaching her. And the passive form is she doesn't mind being taught. Now let us have a look at the 4 common errors found while using a passive voice. Changing the tense. Someone has spilled the milk. The milk was spilled. It is a wrong sentence. because someone has spilled is transformed as the milk was spilled, which is a simple past tense. It has to be like the milk has been spilled. Look at the next sentence. I am going to pay his debts. His debts will be paid is again wrong. His debts are going to be paid is the right form. Missing to be. Someone has spilled the milk. The milk has spilled is a wrong sentence because the verb has not been conjugated here. It has to be like the milk has been spilled. I am going to pay his debts. His debts are going to paid is a wrong sentence. It has to be like his debts are going to be paid. The third common error found is like using present participle instead of past participle. Look at this sentence. Someone has spilled the milk. The milk has been spilling is a wrong expression and it has to be like the milk has been spilled. I am going to pay his debts. His debts are going to pay is a wrong expression and it has to be like his debts are going to be paid. And the fourth common error found is singular plural confusion, that is using a singular verb for a plural subject and a plural verb for a singular subject. For instance, someone has spilled the grains. The grains has been spelled is wrong because the grains is plural and it has to be like the grains have been spelled. Look at another example. I am going to pay his debts. His debts is going to be paid is a wrong example because his debts is plural and it has to be like his debts are going to be paid. Thanks for watching and bye for now.